Steelers Nation, hold on tight. Caleb Johnson, who was seen as the rawest rookie on the roster, just showed up in a way no one saw coming. And this is all happening on the same day that we get hot news about Micah Parsons wanting out of Dallas and, you guessed it, people in Pittsburgh are already dreaming big. Meanwhile, Terry McLaurin is also on the market and the Steelers' name keeps popping up. And to top it all off, our secondary just lost another young player to injury. The pressure is on, and I'm Jack Romano. Is our Steel City soul tough enough to handle it? Hey, fellow Steelers fan, before we dive into the latest Steelers news, just a quick ask. If you're into this kind of analysis, hit that subscribe button. It helps the project grow and keeps this passionate community alive. Let's go. Caleb Johnson came into training camp with a giant question mark on his forehead, and the problem was clear: pass protection. His college tape showed a strong guy, yes, but way too raw to handle real pressure. And let me tell you, on the first day in pads, it was tough to watch. They put him in the famous backs-on-backers drill, over in the corner of the end zone, and man, he got run over. Malik Harrison just blew past him 3 times in a row. Johnson even asked for a rematch after the first one, showed some courage, which is cool, but the result was the same. He ended up on his back. And the worst part? He knew he was struggling. But then something unexpected happened. Rapid evolution. 2 sessions later, his whole demeanor was different. He was positioning himself better, using his hands more effectively, and believe it or not, he held his own against Harrison in a repeat of those battles. The tie was a bit controversial, the defense wanted a flag, but the refs didn't see anything wrong. And if that was a sign of life, what came next was even more impressive. Caleb simply beat Mark Robinson, the king of backs-on-backers, 2 times in a row. That's when everyone stopped and watched. The noise on the field changed, the veterans started nudging each other, and even the coaches cracked a little smile. Now don't get me wrong, no one is saying he's the new Jerome Bettis of pass protection, not even close. But when a rookie shows that kind of technical leap in such a short time, it's a sign that the raw material is moldable. He's listening, he's learning, and he's responding. And in Pittsburgh, that means something. There's no room for softness here. The so-called Rooney standard doesn't forgive. Now I want to hear from you. Will Caleb Johnson be able to lock down a spot on this roster just based on this effort and this lightning-fast improvement? Or is the competition too fierce for him to keep this momentum going until the preseason? Because one thing is for sure, this Steel Curtain loves an underdog who won't back down. And if he keeps this up, there will be a lot of people waving their terrible towel just for him. But hold on, because the hot name now is on the other side of the ball, and he could be the perfect partner for our new veteran QB. Is the front office really taking a shot at Terry McLaurin? Man, this McLaurin bombshell just rocked the Yinzer Nation. Terry McLaurin, the guy who's been carrying Washington's offense on his back for years, is reportedly requesting a trade, and the Steelers' name is already in the mix as a possible destination. NFL Network's Good Morning Football went straight to the point. Pittsburgh would be the ideal place for McLaurin if he wants to seriously contend for a Super Bowl. And with DK Metcalf already here, can you imagine having 2 WR1-level receivers on the roster? That would be a complete turnaround from what we had in 2024, when Pickens was basically our only weapon. But let's be real, this kind of deal isn't simple. First, we'd have to send a heavy package over to Washington. We're not talking about a 4th-round pick and a bench player. The talk is something like 2 premium picks, maybe even a player involved. And then, there's the grenade, the contract. The standard has been set with DK, and if we open up the coffers for McLaurin too, the cap is going to feel it. The question is the risk worth it? From a technical point of view, yes it is. McLaurin is an elite route runner, reliable on 3rd downs, plays with heart, and is productive even with average QBs. Can you imagine this guy with Rodgers throwing to him? It would be beautiful to see this offense gain depth, free up space for the running game, and force defenses to respect the deep ball more. But there's another side to it, right? The front office has shown a certain appetite this offseason, bringing in veterans, making moves where needed, being bold, but they've also been calculated. The question now is, does the Rooney standard allow for another big move like this? Will Omar Khan really put more chips on the table, or will he hold back to keep the structure intact? As a fan, I confess, I'm torn. Part of me wants to see this black and gold pride with an explosive offense worthy of the Big Ben era. But another part fears the cost. What about you? Would you trade future picks for a McLaurin in the prime of his career, hungry to prove he can be a champion? Because if the front office makes this move, my friend, the message will be clear. Pittsburgh is all in. And here's a teaser. If the McLaurin talk is already bold, wait until you hear the name that came up in today's conversation. Yes, it's exactly what you're thinking. Micah Parsons. Yeah, fans. Some news seems too crazy to be true, but this one is too hot to ignore. Micah Parsons, yes, the walking nightmare for offensive lines himself, has requested a trade. And of course, the Steelers' name was thrown into the speculation, because any available superstar ends up on the Steel Dynasty's radar, even if it's just in our dreams. It all started after some prickly comments from Jerry Jones, saying that signing a big contract doesn't guarantee a player will be available, citing injuries and even taking a shot at Dak Prescott in the process. Parsons, who was already fed up with the contract negotiations dragging on, blew up. He said he wants out, that he doesn't feel respected, and that he's not going to play nice while the franchise plays hard to get. Now, hold on a second, let's get our feet back on the ground quickly. The chance of the Steelers going after Parsons? Pretty much zero. First, because the price would be insane. Insiders are citing a package similar to what the Bears paid for Khalil Mack. 2 first-round picks, a third, plus a sixth. And Mack even came with a pick in return. And even if we worked some magic with picks, there's still the cap. Parsons is going to want to break TJ Watt's record, who is already the highest-paid defender in the NFL today. It would be complete financial chaos. And honestly, we already have Watt. We already have Highsmith. We already have a pass rush that scares any offensive line. Fans who are yelling for more defense need to remember that's not the problem. But is it tempting? Yeah. Can you imagine a trio with Parsons, Watt, and Highsmith? The opposing QB would have to get the ball out in 0.7 seconds or get very familiar with the turf. But dreaming is one thing. Making a bad investment is another. And here, my friend, you can't mess around. The organization has already spent heavily to keep the core of the defense intact, and as far as we know, this Parsons move might just be a pressure play to get a bigger contract right there in Dallas. But tell me, if it were up to you, would you send the draft picks and bring the NFC's boogeyman to play in Pittsburgh, or do you think this steel curtain is already complete as it is? Now, speaking of serious problems, things are getting rough in a position that has been haunting us for years, the secondary. And this time, another young piece just ended up on the sidelines. Yeah, fans, this one stings. We barely blinked and another young guy in our secondary is on the sidelines. Cory Trice Jr., who was having a promising camp, left practice limping with a thigh injury. And to make things worse, Joey Porter Jr. also sat out the session. It's the kind of news we're all too familiar with here in Pittsburgh. It starts with, "It looks minor," and ends with the guy missing half the season. For those who don't remember, Trice already came with a heavy injury history. He tore his ligament in training camp 2 years ago, then came back last year with a good reputation, started well, but boom, another muscle injury. Now, once again, he sees his dream of cementing a spot in the rotation threatened. And the worst part? The guy was really standing out in these practices, playing physical, showing versatility. He had snaps in the slot. They even tested him at safety at times. But without health, it's a no-go. The magic word here is availability. If you can't stay on the field, talent doesn't matter. And with so many good people coming in, like Brandon Echols, who's flying in drills, the space for Trice is shrinking fast. With Porter out and Trice injured, the main duo is now Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey. Yes, experienced veterans, but they also have their medical histories and you can't be 100% sure they'll last all 17 games of the season. So, depth has become a real concern again. The coaching staff has even started looking at the market, and don't be surprised if a well-known veteran shows up in the next few days. And I'll tell you, it's frustrating to see this story repeat itself. Every year we see a young guy with potential get sacrificed at the beginning of camp. And the fans feel it, because we get attached, we believe. With every well-played snap, every interception in practice, a new reason to dream of a dominant secondary is born. And then, thigh, knee, hamstring, and everything falls apart. But we can't just sit and cry. The season is coming, and the hole this injury could open up on the roster needs to be filled now. And you, a die-hard fan, how do you see this Trice drama? Do you still have hope that he'll secure a spot on the roster? Or do you think it's time to turn the page and find someone more reliable? Because as it is, my friend, the clock is ticking, and this defense can't falter just when we're starting to dream big. But hold on tight, because now it's time to connect the dots and say what all of this means for 2025. Take a deep breath, fans, because the truth is that 2025 might be the most unpredictable year in our recent history. A rookie showing grit, a potential bombshell on offense with McLaurin, the unreal temptation called Parsons, and another secondary talent going down, all at the same time. This is the kind of chaos that separates those who just watch from those who live and breathe it. And I ask you, are we about to experience a magical season or another chapter of Steel City suffering? If this analysis reminded you why you still believe in this steel curtain, hit that like button and comment below. Can we still dream in Pittsburgh?